Is it possible that you're standing in the way of your own business growth? If you're wondering, the answer is absolutely. We all do it. It is a common fact that entrepreneurs are so often at the epicenter that's keeping their business stagnant. So if you think that that might be you, or you want to hear where I see some women entrepreneurs are really resisting taking some very strategic action that's going to help them grow their business, then you are going to want to stay tuned. If you and I haven't met yet, my name is Shelagh Cummins, and I am the CEO and founder of The Road to Seven. We provide financing, coaching, and training for women entrepreneurs that are on their journey to and beyond seven figures. We love supporting women that are making big moves, taking bold action, and are getting some terrific results. So I was trying to figure out what I should be sharing today because I see resistance coming through in people's businesses, and I experience resistance as well. So I thought I'd talk about the three biggest areas where I see resistance, but I will probably share a little bit more. And so, what do I mean by resistance? Resistance is what happens when you know you should be doing a certain thing, but you keep not doing it. You avoid it. I call it the three ugly stepsisters. Maybe you're procrastinating and putting something off that you know needs to happen in order to have a massive impact on your business. And for some reason, you just never have enough time. The other thing I see is perfectionism, right? Procrastination, perfectionism, can't put it out yet, can't make the call yet, can't make an offer yet. The program's not quite right. I can't quite do it yet. Everything's not in alignment yet. I don't have this document ready, so I can't reach out to open a conversation. Perfectionism is a choice that we often make that holds us stagnant. The other one is overwhelm. I hear people all the time coming to me and they're saying, Shelagh, I'm at capacity. I can't do any more, but I want to do more because I want my business to grow. So, procrastination, perfectionism, and overwhelm are three of the ugly stepsisters that we use to help keep us safe in our company. We do it as a form of protection so that if whatever that action is doesn't work, we don't get hurt. Now, I know and you know that you can do very hard things. And so the things that we're going to talk about today are resistances that might feel hard in the moment, but once you've gone through it or you've made that big move, I think you're going to find that it has massive payoffs for you and for your company's growth. The very first place that I see people resisting is in pricing their products properly. When you are underpriced, you are doing yourself a disservice. I see women all the time pricing their products based just on either their costs or the amount of time that they think it's going to take to do whatever it is. Let's take somebody who has a coaching business, for example. I worked with somebody the other day and she said, we worked on her program. We put all the pieces together. She said, I think I want to sell it for $1,500. And I said, well, let's look at the amount of hours that are needed in order for you to deliver. So we went through and I said, so basically you've priced this so that you're paying yourself $7.37 an hour. She said, well, how did you get to that number? And so we worked backwards and noticed that she hadn't factored in that she has taxes she's going to have to pay. She hasn't factored in her operating costs. She hasn't factored in the team costs that it's going to take to offer her program. And she hasn't figured in having a little bit of profit or having more than enough left. She's underpriced. And I said, why are you pricing it at this level? And her answer was, well, I want it to be number one, competitive. And number two, attainable to a wider audience. Now, those are two really good reasons why you want to price properly. What you're doing at that same time is she was undervaluing her product. She was undervaluing her program. She was paying herself $7 an hour. She's been in business for a while. She does great work. Her clients get massive results. When you aren't taking into account all the costs that are included in whatever it is that you're selling, you're going to do yourself a disservice. It's going to be really hard to start scaling and growing beyond you. As soon as you start hiring, it all of a sudden is more expensive for you to run your company. Therefore, your price has to reflect that. You have to know your costs to doing business. I was working with someone the other day who was putting in a really big proposal to a really big company, and she was up against some really big players. And there was a resistance to adding in specific items that were going to cost her. And she said, I want to make this an easy yes. I want to make this competitive, and I want to be less expensive than the other people pitching so that they choose mine. Now, let me just stop there and ask you. I like to use the example of jeans. You can go and buy a pair of jeans for $19.99, or you can go and buy a pair of jeans for $199.99. Tell me about the difference between the $199 jeans and the $19 jeans. Well, I don't have to tell you that the word that comes to mind with the $19 jeans is that they're cheap. They're not well made. They're probably not going to last. The $199 jeans, there's an assumption that they bring a higher quality. So when this woman is putting in her proposal and she's wanting to make it cheaper, she's resisting pricing it where it should be. She is essentially saying, I am the cheap option. And yeah, the client might say yes, but it's going to come at the expense of the value that she brings. And the client is most likely price shopping. And when clients are shopping and choosing programs based on price, they are not looking at the value that you're bringing. They're simply looking at numbers. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, because as the buyer, that is also a resistance that I see, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And so I encourage this woman to put the number out that was properly priced, which totally reflected the amount of value this program was going to bring. We added in profit so that at the end of the day, she had money left over after delivering it. This is a very large scope of work that she's providing. It's going to take a while. She's going to have to bring in consultants. She's going to have support in order to make it happen. There's travel included. If she's focused only on putting a price on it that's going to bring value, it's just not going to work. It's not going to be worth it. And if you are questioning your company or your business and you're saying, this just doesn't feel worth it, I don't have enough money coming in, and you're not willing to look at your price, or you're resistant to putting a price on it that is not just market rate, but is indicative of the value that you bring, then you are standing in the way of your own business growth. Another place I see people resisting to make really powerful decisions is the hiring and firing of people on their teams. Let's talk about hiring first. A lot of women I talk to say, well, I can't hire. I don't have the money. I don't have the cash flow. Well, inevitably, we're going to go back to the pricing. And if you're not willing to price so that you can scale, then you're not going to have enough money to hire, period. It's as simple as that. You are literally standing in the way of your own growth. And so when we look at hiring, we want to have the infrastructure already in place so that we have the cash flow to be able to support that hire, or we hire someone who's going to make you cash flow, someone who's going to help you earn revenue. We always want to hire the cheapest solution possible because we think it's going to save us money. But when you hire someone for the skills and the value that they're bringing to your team, someone who knows how to get results, yeah, it might cost you a little bit more. We're going to have that reflected in the price. And that person's going to be responsible for earning 3 to 4 times the amount that you pay them. So if you're paying somebody $100 a month, we want them earning $300 to $400 a month. We want them helping you with delivery or fulfillment, or helping you with the operations or the sales and marketing. We want them to be earning their keep. But if you're not willing to hire somebody who is skilled and who is likely better at whatever it is that they do than you are, you're totally standing in your own way. You are resisting making a strategic hire that's going to have a massive impact on your growth. And let's talk about firing. How many of you are carrying dead weight on your team? How many of you are paying someone's salary and then doing the work for them because they're not delivering what they should be? How many of you have a team member that is costing them money every month instead of earning them money every month? And then ask yourself, well, why am I not letting them go? And do you know the number one reason I hear? I don't want them to be mad at me. They're going to be mad at you, whether you fire them or not. Everybody's going to be mad at one point. You're not always going to please everybody. And I know that some people's situation is very precarious, but it's not your company or yours job to carry an underperformer at the cost to your business or company. You're not doing yourself a favor, but you're also not doing that person a favor. And I've had extensive conversations with people that really have resulted in the message of sometimes you have to kick someone out of the nest to help them find their wings. People make their own decisions. When you're shielding them from decisions that they're making, or you're preventing them from being able to make a decision that may serve them better, then you're not helping them. You're protecting yourself and trying to help yourself feel good. That resistance to making sure that your team is high performing at all times is one of the biggest ways that I see women holding back in the growth of their company. Another place I see resistance all the time. And I get this all the time. I've used this excuse all the time. This is a very famous one. It's the resisting to investing time and money into you and your company so that you can make more time, so that you can have more time and make more money. There are so many women that are not willing to take the risk on themselves. Oh, I can't join that program. It's too expensive. Oh, I don't have the time to take the program. Oh, I really, really, really want this. I know it's going to be the game changer for me, but I just can't. I don't want to spend the money right now. I have the money, but I don't want to spend it. I don't have the money. I don't think that I'll make it. When you're investing in a program that's literally designed to help you reclaim your time and help you make more money, it is up to you to take the program and implement what you learn, adapt it to you so that you have more time and make more money. But we keep using it as an excuse as to why we can't sign up for whatever program it is. Now, a lot of people use that excuse because it's easy. It's a low-hanging fruit excuse, if you will. They know that they need a program, but they're just like, yeah, well, I don't want to spend the time. I don't want to spend the time and I don't want to spend the money. I get it. But if it's the right program and you know in your heart of hearts that it's what you need and that it's going to be a game changer and that you are so invested, you're going to get your all out of it, then I encourage you to take a risk on you. Because when you say no, you are literally standing in your own way of your own development. I'm not saying go mortgage your house and put yourself in financial strife to invest in programs. There's a lot of snake oil out there. I see it all the time. I see these really sexy marketing programs and you buy into these programs and then there's nothing of value behind the door. But their marketing is so good. They're sexy, they got sizzle, but there's no stake to what they offer. You will know in your gut when it's the right decision to join a program, and it's okay if it feels scary. When you invest in you and you invest in your development and your evolution, and you invest in something that's going to help you, when you show up and do the work, you will reap the benefits of that investment. What's hard is sometimes we sign up for programs, but then we don't see the results right away. So if it's a 90-day program, by day 91, you haven't seen the result and you're like, whoa, that was a waste of time and energy. Look at all the money that's out the door. Maybe you haven't had time to fully implement what that program's all about. You're literally standing in the way of your own growth. So whether it's pricing or whether it's your team or whether it's the resistance to investing in you, these are ways that I see people totally standing in the way of their own company's growth. So what is your resistance? What do you know that you should be doing or that you could do, but you're avoiding it for whatever reason? I'm curious what this story is or why you've justified that you don't have to do something. And listen, you're running your business because you get to call the shots. You get to make all the strategic decisions that you want. You get to decide what works. You get to decide when you work. You get to decide who you work with. You get to decide what you sell and at what price. That is all you. But if you're resisting something that's going to help you, what the heck? You have every ability to grow and evolve your business however you want it to look. You are the person that's going to make it happen. So notice what you're resisting doing that you know is going to be a really good move. Understand why you're doing it. Am I procrastinating? Am I perfectionism? Oh, that's not a word. Am I perfectionisming? That's also not a word, but we're going to go with it. Am I using the excuse of perfection? Am I choosing to be overwhelmed right now instead of creating some clarity and some focus to be able to take the action that's needed? Why am I doing that? What am I protecting myself from? And then when you can ask yourself, well, what's the worst case scenario if I do this and it flops or it fails? Worst case scenario probably is you're out a little bit of time and energy. Maybe you're out a little money. You can make more money. That's the worst that'll happen. Oh, well, people might laugh at me. What if I offer a program and nobody buys? Then nobody buys and you don't run the program. Well, what if I put out an offer, put in a proposal, and I don't get hired? You don't get hired. That's the worst that can happen. So notice what you're resisting. Figure out why. And if you don't know, for goodness sakes, just send me a message. Send me a DM, send me an email, pop in on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you like to communicate and ask for help. And if it's not from me, then ask for help from somebody else. You hold the keys and the power to your road to 7 and beyond. You are calling the shots. So call the shots so that they work for you. Hey, I will see you next week.